Hello there! Welcome back to the Strawberin0 channel. Today I am contractually obliged to react to SeethTzeentach's Gothic II review. Otherwise, my Polish nationality will be revoked and I will be thrown into a gulag. So let me see if Seth gets everything right about this classic RPG that has one of the shittiest combat systems I have ever seen in any video game ever.
Hey people, Seth here. Today, I'll be covering a game loved by many. A game
Still one of the best fucking RPGs I have played, even with the combat
where
system.
you go from nothing to being the most powerful being on the entire continent. You can
Being the most powerful thing on the entire continent still doesn't make you immune to attack of certain creatures. The whole premise of this game is that you need to get armor good enough so that wolves cannot stun lock you to death. So essentially get armor good enough that they do 0 damage to you. And then as you progress through the game, the creatures keep fucking power creeping because wolves turn into wargs, which are like dogs of the orcs. And then you need even better armor so then wargs deal 0 damage to you. Because if they deal even 1 damage per hit, there is a chance that they will swarm you and stun lock you to death. This game is so shit. I love it.
fight, die, craft, beat up the poor, perform alchemy, perform intercourse with
Like, fighting humans is so easy in comparison, or orcs. Anything that can swing like a weapon, you just press like the back movement key, and your character will do this with a sword, and it essentially makes you immune to any attack from that direction. And then you can combo it into like a forward swing if you are proficient with that weapon. But you cannot block animal bites for some fucking reason, and that's why every single animal in this game is so goddamn deadly.
women, and even distribute sausages to monks.
Sausage is great. You have one sausage too many anyway. Namely, the one for you. And what's a sausage among friends?
I'm talking, of course, about Gothic II.
Also, the English dub kinda sucks dick.
Got everything except a good combat system.
Yup.
Many have played and enjoyed this game, but few understand the real way to play Gothic II. It's all about picking turnips for Lobart the farmer and destroying his relationship with his wife. Every day she feeds me. Every day she slaves over a hot stove to make me soup. And every day her hot juices pour into my stomach, Lobart. You don't even eat her soup. She told me. You haven't eaten it for years, Lobart. Mark my words. You keep ignoring her like that, and in time, it'll be my hot juices pouring inside her stomach. Story. Following the events of Gothic I, you play as
Grzegorz Brzęczyszczykiewicz,
an undocumented Polish migrant who's just escaped from an all-male Polish death camp.
I mean, true.
After a health and safety incident involving giant termites went sour. With a promise of adventure and a competitive European black market wage, you set out to the German city of Korinus, where you will spend the majority of your time smoking water pipes and showing German women the meaning of modesty. Much like in real life, the border guards accept European ID cards, or if you don't have that, simply a drawing of your passport.
Okay, this is hitting way too close to home.
Once inside, you might be reminded that there's an overarching plot involving dragons, and how they're going to attack Germany sooner or later. But who really cares? The dragons are more of a metaphorical plot device, questioning the very nature of what it means to be a Polish migrant worker. As at one point in the story, you can willingly return to the Valley of Coal Mines, a literary reference to the barren wastelands of Poland. And the moment you do so, dragons will assault Korinus and burn your memories to the ground. Despair will fill your character at this point, and you'll be left questioning your motives. Why did I go back? Why didn't I stay? Sure, Lobart only paid me
Oh, every single friend that I ever had, or like a colleague of my parents who came back from immigration, always questions why the fuck did they subject themselves to coming back to Poland. Saving up euros abroad and bringing them back to Polish fucking like quadruples your fortune instantly, because everything is so goddamn cheap compared to the rest of Europe, for example. But like, even if you buy yourself a nice plot of land and build a nice house, you still have to deal with the fact that you're living in Poland, and every winter you spend in Poland is just breathing in the fucking plastic that you're neighbor is burning in their oven. Poland smells so bad during winter. I don't know what the fuck people are burning to heat their goddamn houses, but it makes living there a nightmare for that period.
€5 for picking 20 turnips, but that was enough for me to buy my Zwiek and my Camel cigarettes.
I'm sorry, do you wanna try that one again?
That was enough for me to buy my Zwiek.
That's żywiec, by the way.
And my Camel cigarettes.
No fucking Polish person smokes Camels, come on, man.
I was content. I was happy. Now I'll be lucky to live to 30. Most don't even last that long, down here in the popcorn mines. Hopefully, I'll be instantly caramelized by hitting a sugar vein. Some don't have that luxury. They instead get buried alive, their lungs choking on a mountain of popcorn kernels.
Okay, but that only happens in Śląsk region of Poland, where there are mines open still. If you live near the Baltic Sea, so like the northern region of Poland, or if you live in the mountain region of Poland, which is basically the southern border, you don't have to spend your entire life in the mines to support your family. You can just scam tourists with your exorbitant fucking prices for your goddamn popcorn or oscypek. And of course, renting out your shitty one room to tourists who want to save some money by not going to the hotels that want ludicrous amount of money for one night stay. That's the Polish meta for tourist cities.
Story.
I mean, that's the meta for any tourist city. I bet Venice is basically the same.
Shit, kill some dragons, ignore it, and never leave a first map.
Is Abu Jin ibn Jadir ibn Omar Khalid bin Haji al-Sharidi.
Now that we've got that aside, I can tell you about the real story of Gothic II. Gothic II is really a game that's entirely about becoming unionized. No matter which choices you make or which side you pick, you will inevitably have to join a workers' union, with all the perks, benefits, and downsides that come with it. The darker aspects of unions holding a monopoly on labor also comes into play. For example, the Mages of Fire hold complete monopoly on the teaching of magic, manipulating hundreds of young men to undergo year-long unpaid apprenticeships with the promise of obtaining union membership, during which time they work 60-hour-long weeks without compensation, only to be chewed out at the end of their apprenticeship because they don't meet the high standards the mages dictate.
True, kinda true. Also, being a teenager, doing the Mages of Fire quest to become an apprentice mage was fucking impossible, because you had to buy a ship and escort it all the way to their settlement. And for some reason, being a rotten-brained teenager, that was so hard to do. The ship kept getting lost. It kept getting attacked. You also had to know where to buy the ship, because the game doesn't tell you shit. You have to look it up on the internet or just know it by being Polish and being raised on this game. And as an adult, it's so stupidly easy that I question the intelligence of younger me.
Which are entirely arbitrary. Zardus, a magician who's not unionized with the Circle of Fire, is branded an illegal practitioner of magic because he refuses to pay extortionate guild fees, which won't ever be used to serve him or defend his rights in a court of law, but instead to economically enthrall the market. I mean, he
kinda also participates in Raising of the Dead, but That's the excuse the mages use to exclude him.
Competition. Similarly, the militia and paladins of Khorinis hold a monopoly on force. Any significant weaponry is seized. Any appropriate means of defending yourself from the hordes of orcs just across the valley is an exclusive privilege of
Are we fucking sure this is not taking place in Britain instead of Germany?
afforded to you solely through membership with this despotic union. By their nature, they don't produce any goods, so they forcibly take food and supplies from the townspeople and the surrounding farmlands. Of course, the farmers lacked any means to resist their demands. That was until the magic barrier holding in the prisoners from your Polish death camp exploded. Many of the armed convicts fled north. Spotting an opportunity to antagonize the Paladins Union, Onar, one of the major landowners in Khorinis, hired the escaped men as mercenaries and broke away from Khorinis. All trade was shut down, no food would come to the city, and if the Paladins dared try to collect, they'd be sent home in body bags. So, Onar and his mercenaries form the third and final union. They have a means to defend themselves, but they also expand aggressively, coercing other farmers to join them or risk having their livestock killed and crops burnt in a series of unfortunate accidents, demonstrating the price of not being unionized. For if they successfully absorb the remaining farmers, they will hold a complete monopoly on food, and then all they have to do is wait while the rival unions starve to death inside their own walls. Video games. Gameplay.
Yeah, the story kinda goes hard. That story about the three factions essentially at odds with another plays like completely second fiddle to the real conflict that people of Khorinis, they essentially don't give a fuck about, because there's like an orc horde amassing. There are fucking dragons in the valley, like right next mountain over, and every single working class peasant in this game doesn't believe it. Even if it's happening right across the border, they don't care. And that's some fucking realism right there.
Gothic II uses high-octane, adrenaline-fueled design choices to bring you hard-hitting, visceral combat that requires you to click at the right times to continue the combo. You'll need a seatbelt for this experience, because you're gonna think of hanging yourself an awful lot. On the plus side, you have an infinite inventory, because you'll need all that space.
Casting spells is kinda fun, but they come at a high price, because you need to use like one use only scrolls, which fucking sucks.
Space for the turnips you'll be picking. This German RPG came out at a much simpler, more innocent time in gaming. Now look how far we've come. There are several ways of traveling in this game. One involves using your atrophied stumps, they call legs, to travel at a snail's pace through dirt and dog shit, or
this is the problem I have with replaying this game every goddamn time.
You can use the most efficient method of travel, T-posing. Naturally,
I usually play like 10 hours of gameplay, and then I start using cheats exclusively travel across the map, because bro, just walking from one place to another takes like 40 fucking minutes of doing nothing with your life, just holding W.
Posing is the optimal shape for reducing your air resistance, allowing temporary flight and propulsion. This is well documented in the Dead Sea Scrolls. One thing I really enjoyed in this game is that anyone in the shitty part of town can be attacked, and anyone's lunch money and life savings can be taken from them if they fail to square up and defend themselves. Naturally, attacking the elderly, the disabled, and women, who are also part of the disabled, makes for an effective strategy to make money early on. Khorinis is a magical place where you can attack somebody's wife with a club and rob her unconscious while her husband cheers. For the main quest, you'll need to become a citizen of Khorinis by signing on with one of the different craftsman masters of the city. However, no matter the playthrough, I find myself repeatedly signing on with a blacksmith, just so I can use the game's mechanics by beating the absolute shit out of some guy running a bootleg smithy. You see, whenever a character performs an animation with an object, they automatically spawn that object in their inventory, or several of them. In the case of this unfortunate man, after I beat the shit out of him and rob him of all the steel he has, he'll slowly get back up and start beating red hot steel again, at which point I shank him and take this new, freshly materialized steel for myself.
Exploiting. There are so many like exploits you can perform in Gothic. It's actually fucking insane.
I will repeat this process endlessly until I forged literally hundreds of swords and sold them all to the
Also,
blacksmith and made
of forging swords and selling them is the best strategy in both of the games. In the first one, you didn't have to even fucking learn smithing to smith swords. In this game, they locked it behind needing to learn it in a desperate attempt to nerf it. But yeah, like Seth said, just taking apprenticeship with Torben, sorry, not Torben, Harad, learn smithing is worth it because you can exploit the fucking game.
Buy out the entire town. Truly hardcore PC gaming.
What do you want here? Go!
Yeah, sleeping in
And to anyone
somebody's...
saying Gothic 2 is a game for only true seasoned veterans
Sleeping in somebody's bed before they start beating the shit out of you is also a certified Gothic
of
classic.
RPGs, you can buy a scroll within 20 minutes of starting a new playthrough that lets you transform into an invincible dragon raptor that has a duration of several years and lets you clear out the entire first map in a single day and reach half of a total level cap. So yes,
True.
please don't buy those scrolls from Ignaz the Alchemist and Carinus, whose house is right next to the shitty blacksmith around the corner to the right, because that will negatively impact your experience. They cost 200 gold, by the way. You get the one for Dragon Snapper and Shadow Beast. The game is generally pretty great. The atmosphere and sound work are fantastic, and make you feel like you've really entered the German woods or some shit. As expected, the German woods are filled with giant rats, giant birds, giant velociraptors, and worst of all, Germans. And while the sound design is pretty good in
Same
immersive,
for
the
Poland,
voice
pretty
acting
much.
is absolute fucking garbage, at least in the English copy. Half of the
Yep.
people you talk to can barely even read their lines or speak human dialects, but I guess that's part of the aesthetic. All of Gothic's dialogue is just one hallucinogenic porn movie daze, where all the actors sound like they're half a line away from either sucking you off or mugging you.
Are you the one who runs this place?
I am Bromo, this is my house, and these are my girls. I like my girls. And if you like my girls too, then you'll pay for it, 50 gold pieces.
Most of the
Jesus
quests are pretty
fucking
interesting
Christ,
and will take a
what?
fuck ton of time to finish. My advice, if you're ever feeling frustrated, is to T-pose away from danger, swallow your pride, and read the damn wiki, because trying to honestly find some of those microscopic quest objects will destabilize your emotional well-being and physical health. I know this because it happened in real life. In high school, one of my friends marathoned Gothic for a week straight. He came back with carpal tunnel and botulism because he didn't have time to clean a mold growing on his dinner plate. And when I asked him about it, he said it was completely worth it. Final score.
As long as you are
I mean, that's the truth.
Enter the upper end of the
Will you
town.
put away
Go
that
to Lord
damn
Andre
weapon?
and settle
It's
the
not like I
matter.
didn't warn you.
I'm a respected citizen of Carinus. Let me pass.
You are the dirt under my fingernails. Make yourself scarce.
I honestly never even leave the starting area. I just smoke water pipes and beat up the working class. I'm not even qualified to review this game. Thoroughly recommended. 10 polygons out of 10. A warm thank you to the many members of the Merchants Guild generously funding these videos. And thank you for your patience. It's been pretty busy. Now, if you'll excuse me, there's black mold growing in my shower.
I mean, the man spoke nothing but the truth, like literally from beginning to end. So, yep, I qualify this review to be representative of the final product as a Polish person who basically lives and breathes Gothic. Seth didn't even include the fact that your bow, there is no free aiming like your fucking normal ass video games. The way bows work is that you have to highlight it's even hard to explain. You have to highlight a character by holding your left mouse button, and then you have to press forward while he is highlighted, and this will begin the animation of shooting your bow. This has a random chance to hit them based on your skill in dexterity and how close they are to you. You can have the best bow in the game and stand 15 meters away from somebody, and the arrow will randomly disappear into another fucking dimension and not hit them, making it very easy for them to run up to you and destroy you. Also, if they get too close, you physically cannot hit them anymore because they will start running around you and your arrows will go nowhere. It's such a shit fucking system. It's incredible anybody takes this game seriously. Like I said, it's 10 out of 10. I love it. It's my childhood classic that I come back every couple of months.